Hello, nice to see you. Come on in. Hello, my name's Robert Goodman and welcome to my video. Today I'm joined by a fellow colleague and we're going to show you an example of what might happen mid-session.
Oh, I kept that mood and anxiety diary like you suggested. Do you want to see it?
Yeah, that'd be interesting. So did you notice anything when you were looking back at what you put?
Yeah, I was quite interested to see that every time I call my brother, I seem to get anxious.
Okay. And I noticed here as well that quite soon afterwards your mood takes a dip each time you've contacted your brother.
I hadn't realised that.
Okay.
That's interesting.
And does that have any meaning for you?
Well, I guess it's made me realise that that's part of the pattern with my brother and I. And that's been going on for years.
So I notice we're coming towards the end of our time today and I'm wondering if there's anything you could take away from today's session.
Today's session really helped me realise that there's something being played out in my relationship with my brother, and that's what I'd like to look more into.
Okay, so maybe we could start with that next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you're okay for the same time next week?
Same time next week.
Thanks.
So Robert, tell me a little bit about what counselling is.
Well, it's quite difficult to define because it changes with every client. I guess it also changes with every counsellor. But I think it's fair to say it's a collaboration between a client and a counsellor. It often involves a process of looking at particular patterns of behaviour or feelings and working out what works for someone and what doesn't work for them.
Okay.
It's also, of course, confidential, and that over time helps the client to feel really safe. So it's not like a chat with a friend. It has a particular structure and a focus on the client and therefore a particular purpose. So part of the initial agreement we look at is looking at the goals, what someone wants to achieve in counselling and what sort of time that might take. So it's held in that way. But also, of course, it can be really exciting. As someone becomes to realise why they're behaving like they're behaving and why they're feeling like they're feeling, and often it's a process of empowerment and people come unstuck and move forward, and at that point I find it really exciting and hopefully the clients do too.
Thank you. So Robert, what do you specialise in counselling?
Well, I have a lot of experience in helping people with anxiety and depression. Also bereavement, that's quite a common thing that people bring to counselling. I also do a lot of couples work, both with straight couples and same-sex couples, and I do some work in the LGBT community, and also with families, both with families as a whole but also with children and adolescents.
So Robert Goodman Counselling is really well known in the areas that you cover, which is Hastings, isn't it? St Leonard's, Bexhill, Eastbourne and surrounding areas. So people will want to know why you became a counsellor.
Okay, that is quite a complicated route really. Initially, when I was a teenager, I played the flute and I went to study music. And while I was studying music, I had quite a lot of performance anxiety. And the music college I was studying sent me along to the counsellor. And she was really helpful. And that was my first experience, and that it did what it needed to do. And then later on in my later 20s, I guess, I had a series of personal bereavements. And I went to about 3 different counsellors over a period of a year. And I had the experience that people worked in very different styles as counsellors, and some suited me and some didn't. And that not only did it help me with my grieving process, but also it triggered my interest. So from that point I started reading and then eventually studying. So that was my routine, and then I trained and started practicing in my kind of mid-30s.
Thank you.